In the time it takes to watch this video, over 1,000 families will fall victim to cybercrime. I had a particular incident that happened a few days ago when my daughter came in with a form for a program she was interested in partaking in. We tried to actually sign for her online, wanted to sign up for the program online, only for her to say, "Mommy, this is not a secure transaction." So curiously, I collected the form from her and took a look. The program actually was interested in us putting in the credit card details on the form instead of getting us to sign up for the program online. Interestingly, we had to resort to another payment type, so we decided to go with a credit card. But then that got me pondering and thinking, because we live in an age where technology has become a part of the everyday life. Kids now, they now learn from iPads, laptops, and television screens. Boards are becoming a thing of the past, and teachers now resort to slide decks rather than chalkboards. Yes, I understand that it is an upgrade, but how exactly can we stay safe in this muddy waters that is called the cyber age? Number one, digital safety is a topic that parents need to discuss with their kids, just like sex education. It is important for them to understand how to navigate the online world safely, consciously, and smartly, so that they are not prey to pedophiles, cyber bullies, kidnappers, and even scammers. Number two, as parents, you need to recognize the signs of cyberbullying. Understand about cyberbullying is that when your kids suddenly start avoiding digital devices, that is a sign. Is there emotional distress or what is called tantrums after using a digital device? That is another sign. Is your child suddenly withdrawing from the family and friends and suddenly becoming reclusive? That may be a sign of not only cybercrime or what is called cyberbullying, but also child abuse or sex abuse. Then the last sign is that the grades may be declining, or there may be what is called a sudden loss of interest in school. Most of the kids that are actually cyberbullied are people that they know. They are bullied by people they already know. These people that are bullying them are not people they don't know. They are not people they met online. So you need to understand, if your child has suddenly lost interest in going to school, or is suddenly losing interest, or the grades are declining, it's time for you to interfere, because your child may be experiencing bullying. I want you to be mindful of the social media activities that your kids are actually involved in. Restrict younger kids to kiddie versions, such as YouTube Kids, and eliminate other apps that are not required. Then the next thing I want you to know is that you need to monitor what is being watched and restrict the use of streaming platforms to places where you can see what is being viewed, such as the TV in the family room. All right? Allowing streaming apps on mobile devices should be a no-no, and ensure that parental controls are in place in order to define profiles. When I talk about defining profiles, that means the profile on which you're actually watching, especially when it comes to streaming platforms, should be different from the profile on which your kids are watching. And if you have what is called teenage kids, their profiles should also be different from that of the younger ones. Then I want you to secure your own Wi-Fi network. You need to secure it with a complex password and use WPA2 for authentication. I know a lot of people will be wondering, what is WPA2? You can use WPA2 or WPA3. Those are the two choices. It may not even be two choices. Sometimes it comes at 3, WPA, WPA2, WPA3. Most router devices these days don't have WPA3, so I'm encouraging you, if yours has WPA2, please go with that. All right. When it comes to your own routers, you need to use WPA2 for your authentication. I'm going to go with WPA2 for those that don't have WPA3. Then the next thing I want you to know is that you should not share the same iCloud password with your kids. The thing with kids is that they tend to download unwanted apps that carry malware. So restricting purchases on their devices is also a great idea. For the sake of your sanity, restrict the purchases on their devices. Then number 8, I want you to enable device tracking wiping features on all mobile devices. Use kid-friendly browsers on their devices. Some great choices are DuckDuckGo. The second one is AstroSafe. Those are the two ones I have used before. You can also do a research and find out which ones can also work for you. I know there are some other great choices, but those are the two that I have tried. Then number 10, if your kids have to buy an app on their device, I will advise that you either get an iTunes card or a Play Store card rather than enter your credit card details. Now, let me tell you why I'm telling you this. This is for the sake of your mental health as well as your sanity. Number 11, use parent control apps to identify and restrict what your kids have access to. Monitor usage and keep them safe. Personally, I have used NetNanny since the pandemic and it has worked amazingly well for me. Now, let me tell you, I know my kids, I'm sure my kids don't see this video, all right? My kids are smart, so I ensure that my NetNanny is not on any of my mobile devices, it is on my laptop. Since they will certainly detect it if it is on my phone or if it is on my iPad. So what I do is that NetNanny actually helps me to look at the words that the older kids are searching for on their devices. It allows some to go through and some are restricted. It just tells me they actually searched for those words. That way, I can have a conversation with them dependent on what the word looks or sounds like. Now, for the younger kids, what I have tried to do is ensure that the internet stops working on their devices by 8 p.m. But they cannot identify why. But everybody is happy because by 7 a.m. the next morning, it comes back up. For the older kids, what I have done is to ensure that their devices are frozen by 9 p.m. each night. So if you do not do your homework before 9 p.m., you also need to monitor social media apps. What I have done is to restrict social media apps on NetNanny. So even though they may have it on their devices, I don't care about that. They may be able to download it, but they are never able to log in or use it except I approve it. Now, some other good choices apart from NetNanny is Nothing. Another one is Kids Locks. Kids, KIDS LOX. Then Aura, AURA. Then another one is Boomerang. Another one is Family Time. Like I always say, I am not promoting any service. I am not marketing for anyone. These are just services that I have used, I have tried, and it makes sense. Now, if you can sign up, the next one is that if you can sign up for what I have called an identity theft protection service, I will advise that you do it, especially if you have been part of an identity theft situation. All right. Some popular choices for identity protection programs are Lifeline by Norton. That is actually the most popular one, and that's the one I have tried. Another one is ID Shield. There's Identity Guard. There's Identity IQ, and Aura also performs the same thing. AURA. All right. Then number 13, I want us to understand that we are moving closely to that time of the year, the holiday seasons. So financial scams will be on the rise. Therefore, I'm going to provide you with some tips to keep you safe. The first thing I want you to know is that never, ever check your financial or bank information. Never check your bank information on a public Wi-Fi or a public device. Now, I know some people will tell me, oh, but what if I'm traveling? If you are traveling and you have to do a financial transaction, please ensure that you do it on your personal phone using your cellular data. I'm going to repeat that again. If you are traveling and have to do a financial transaction, do it on your personal phone using your cellular data. Never ever use the hotel Wi-Fi, airport Wi-Fi, or that of a coffee shop to check your financial information. Please never try it. The second tip I want you to know is that you need to monitor your accounts regularly. If you observe a transaction that you are not familiar with, even if it is $1, notify your bank immediately. Now, let me explain why I'm telling you even if it is $1. A lot of times, when scammers or people that are into identity fraud or financial scams want to steal money, the first thing they do is to extract a small amount, usually $1, $2, or $5 from that account. In fact, I've seen $6 before, to make sure that it goes through first before they go for a larger sum. So once you notice something that is unusual or something that it's not normal on your financial accounts or on your financial records, notify your bank immediately. Then the third thing I want you to know is that you should always use a privacy-focused payment method when making an online or even a POS-based transaction. All right? Now, the first one I want you to know, we've talked about this so many times, I'm going to talk about it again. Ensure you use complex passwords to secure your accounts. If you do not know how passwords work, I want you to go back and look at our video, the one that talks about passwords. I'm going to put a link in this description so that you can still check it out. Now, the next thing I want you to know is that always use multi-factor authentication. Now, I know some people will be wondering, oh, multi-factor authentication, she's always talking about it. But if your bank service allows it, rather than use an OTP, I will advise that you use an authenticator app. Okay? Now, to be on the safer side, authenticator apps will actually keep you safe, but to be on the safer side, you need to ensure that the authenticator app is not installed on your primary phone, the same phone on which you accept OTPs. Instead, use a secondary device. The secondary device could actually be a tablet. The secondary device could actually be another phone. That just keeps you safer because sometimes they can be intercepted. Now, the first thing I want you to know is that always use a credit card for payment, especially when it is an online or even in-person transactions. I'll say it again. Always use a credit card for payments, especially when it is online or even in-person transactions. What I will advise is that you should have 2 credit cards, a minimum of 2 credit cards. Let me tell you how it should work. One of those credit cards should have what is called a maximum of $1,500. That's the maximum on that particular card. The reason you want, or for some people, you may not even have that much, is dependent on how much you think you can lose, and you won't go wow. You know, you won't go all crazy if it's an amount that you think you can do away with if something goes wrong. So I will advise 1,500. I know some people may say 2,000, but I will advise 1,500 or less, depending on how much you don't mind to lose. The second card can actually carry any amounts that you think you need. Let me tell you how it's going to work. The one with the lesser amounts, you use it exclusively for online transactions. Let me tell you how this is going to work. Use the one with the lesser amount, the one that is with the 1,500 or less, exclusively for online transactions. But the other card, you will use them for in-person transactions or organizations that you have related with in the past and that you trust. Just because an organization is a big name does not mean you trust it. All right? So I'm going to say it again. Use the bigger one, the card with a bigger amount for in-person transactions or organizations that you have related with in the past and you trust. Let me now emphasize on something. If you have to eat at a restaurant and they're going to take away your card, they didn't bring the POS machine to you, or they didn't ask you to go pay at the counter, I will advise you that you use the card with the lesser amount. All right? Use the card with the lesser amount. I'm going to say it again a third time. Use the card with the lower amount. All right? You should only use your debit card at the bank or at the ATM and ensure that you only use the bank authorized machines only. Don't say Dorcas did not tell me. The reason I am asking you to do that and to use a credit card at every point in time is because credit cards are fraud protections. They are owned by the bank. No matter how much the bank has given to you on your credit card, it is still the bank's money. You should understand that. So the bank will always protect its own interest. They are protecting their money. So every credit card has what is called fraud protection. But if the debit card is yours, I want you to be smart, because the money on the debit card is yours. It is not protected. The money does not belong to the bank. That is one of the reasons why I'm saying use a credit card. The bank is going to protect its own money. Now, the next thing I want you to know, this is the last one on playing with the financial transactions in order to avoid financial scams. If you notice anything strange on your account, lock the account first. Lock that card first, then notify the bank. I'll say it again. If you notice anything strange, when I say strange, you misplaced your card, you discovered that you took your card to a restaurant and something went wrong. Somebody removed $1 from your account that you didn't understand how the transaction came to be. You saw an amount that is pending on your account and you don't understand it. You are part of a credit, or what is called a credit card fraud, or you discover that there's identity theft or something going on and you have been notified. Lock your card, lock the account, then notify the bank. Okay? The first thing you should do is lock it up. Then I want us to know, number 14, I want you to develop the habit of backing up your files, either to the cloud or an external device. Don't say, oh, I lost all my transactions, I lost all my contacts, I lost all my information. That phone was very precious to me. Because please develop the habit of backing up your files. Don't call me and say, Dorcas, I lost my phone. That's why I'm telling you, develop the habit of backing up your files, either to a cloud or an external device. People will keep saying, oh, she's always talking about iCloud. I use an iPhone. I'm an Apple user. So I do use a lot of their products. So I always send my information to the cloud. I know sometimes it may not be safe, but as much as possible, it's better to be safe than sorry. Now, the most important I want you to understand is that open communication is the most effective measure to minimize threats. I want you to encourage all the members of your family to discuss their concerns. It's important to stay informed about current cyber threats and share the information as a family. Talk to your kids about these things. This information are things that they should know on a regular. The same way you talk to them about sex education, the same way you talk to them about abuse, the same way you talk to them about keeping themselves safe, the same way you talk to them about kidnappings and how life works in general. That is exactly the same way I need you to talk to them about their online safety. Until I see you in the next video, don't forget to stay safe.